Welcome back to DNA Comics and Collectibles YouTube page. Please remember to like and subscribe so we can keep you up to date with future content. Remember that you can also find us on Facebook and Instagram. Today in episode 3, we are going to go over the top 10 most expensive comic book purchases. For those that may not know, let's discuss the grading scale to help better understand some of these values. The scale will begin at 0.5, indicating poor condition, while the scale will climb all the way up to 10 to show that this book is a gem mint. Just like with most things, the rarity of a book will make it become more valuable. Also, first appearances of major characters are always more sought-after investments. So let's kick off the list with number 10. Up first is Uncanny X-Men number 1. In 2016, this book was sold for over $807,000. In this first issue, we are introduced to several characters such as Angel, Beast, Cyclops, Iceman, Marvel Girl, and Professor Xavier. But you can't have heroes without a good villain such as Magneto. Moving to number 9. All-Star Comics number 8 sold for over $936,000. In this issue, we see the first appearance of Wonder Woman. She was such a hit with readers that she joins the Justice Society soon after. For number 7 and 8, we have a tie. Both books sold for $1.5 million. Let's start with Marvel's First Family and Fantastic Four number 1. The Human Torch, The Thing, Invisible Girl, and Mr. Fantastic were purchased in a beautiful graded 9.2 copy in 2022. Our other contender is Detective Comics number 27. The first appearance of Batman and Jim Gordon was printed May of 1939, yet its record sale was sold in 2020. Number 6 belongs to Batman number 1. This classic issue sold for over $2.2 million in January 2021. In Batman's first solo series, we are introduced to one of his iconic villains, the Joker. However, this is not the only debut in this book. This is where we get our first appearance of Catwoman. Number 5 belongs to Marvel Comics number 1. Understanding this is the first Marvel comic, it's easy to see why this book sold for $2.4 million in March of 2022. There are several introductions in this blockbuster issue, starting with the Human Torch. Our second reveal was the Angel. How can we forget? This is where we got our first view of the Submariner, who will be hitting the big screen in November in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Number 4 belongs to Captain America Comics number 1. Cap sold for $3.1 million in April of 2022. This issue is debuting Captain America and the youthful Bucky Barnes. Where would the Marvel movies be if we didn't have these two? Bum ba ba bum! Now we start off the top 3 most expensive purchases. Number 3 belongs to Action Comics number 1. Superman's first official appearance sold for $3.25 million in April of 2021. You can't talk about Clark Kent without mentioning it was also the debut of Lois Lane. Number 2 belongs to everyone's favorite web slinger. In September of 2021, Spidey's debut in Amazing Fantasy number 15 sold for $3.6 million. While the origin of Spider-Man, this book also introduced Aunt May and Uncle Ben for the first time. Something some newer readers don't know: the original Peter Parker was drawn to look like the artist Steve Ditko. It wasn't until later that John Romita changed Peter's appearance. So we have made it to our top spot in the list. Can you guess what issue is the most expensive? The most expensive purchase, drumroll please, a gorgeous 8.0 copy of The Origin of Superman in his own title sold for $5.3 million in April of 2022. $1.7 million over number 2 makes it easily the most expensive purchase in comic book history. We hope you enjoyed episode 3, Top 10 Most Expensive Comic Book Purchases. Please remember to like and subscribe as we continue to bring you new content. Thanks again, and as always, 'nuff said.